Bonjour à tous. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the press conference for the match opposing England to France tomorrow at Al Bayt Stadium at 10 p.m. Housekeeping information before we start. Language available for this press conference will be French, English, and Arabic. Once you have a question, please raise your hand, introduce yourself, and also use one of the translated language. For photographers, I'll ask you to take pictures for the first 5 minutes, and then we'll ask you to stop. Finally, for everybody, please mute your phone and turn off the hotspot. Now it's time to start with the questions. Gentleman in the back here.
Oui, bonjour Hugo, François Verdenet.
Good morning, François Verdenet, l'équipe. Of course, you know England very well. Have you given advice to your teammates about the English players, particularly about set pieces, which will be one of the key points in this match? Of course, the English are well known all over the world, thanks to their Premier League, thanks to their clubs, which are very well known in European competitions. And most of our players know them very well. We're quite used to playing against them. For some of us, of course, we play with them and train with them on a daily basis. And if we can help our teammates with any particular knowledge that we have about them, then of course we do them. We do that. And on set pieces, yes, that's one of their strengths. They're very tall and they have some good players who take good free kicks. I think every little detail is going to count in this match. So that's why set pieces are very important. So we're going to have to be very strong. But in terms of our attack, we also have what it takes to make it difficult for them. But yes, that's one of the aspects of the match where we're going to have to be strong. I'm from Sud-Ouest. A lot has been said about Kylian Mbappe this week after his match and his duel with Kyle Walker. Do you think he can make the difference, or do you think we overplayed that aspect? No, I think Kylian is preparing very well. He's trying to ignore a lot of the talk about him. That's really not something he needs. He is very focused on his objectives, individually and collectively. He seems very happy. He's playing with a smile on his face, and he seems very focused on the match ahead of us. And that's how he's looked since the very beginning of this tournament. Good morning, I'm a journalist from Tunisia, and I have a question in Arabic.
Regarding the goalkeeper, the Moroccan goalkeeper, Bono, how do you assess his performance? Do you think he is one of the elite goalkeepers we are seeing nowadays?
Oui, je le connaissais déjà.
Yes, I knew him already before this World Cup because of his performance in Spain with Sevilla. And yes, I do think that he's one of the best goalkeepers in this tournament. And he was decisive in the match against Spain. And it's thanks to him that they've managed to get through to the next round. And I'm sure that he will continue to show that he's one of the best goalkeepers around. And that's one of the great things about a World Cup. It gives the opportunity to see players that may play in less well-known teams and leagues, but are among the most talented players in the world. Good morning, Baptiste Defray, Le Figaro. How do you see the rivalry between France and England? And you've been playing in England for a long time now. What's most English about you? My two last children who were born in England. My daughters who were growing up in England. In a French school, in an English school, but with a French education, if you like, from their family. But yes, there is a rivalry between England and France, and there has been for some time. They're two major footballing nations. But you see that rivalry as well in other sports like rugby. And since we're here at the World Cup, we know that they are two very strong teams. So that clearly leads to great matches. And at the World Cup, France-England is always a special match. But as players, we need to make sure that we are up to a quarterfinal of the World Cup, whoever we're playing. We are doing everything we can to make sure that we are ready. But obviously, England is also an ambitious country. They've come here to win the World Cup. And so it's going to be a very tough game, and that's the type of game that we all love. So it's up to us to do what we can to win this game.
Please stop. Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Hugo. Sorry, Hugo, over here. David McDonnell from the Daily Mirror. Question in English. Many of the French team, yourself included, have been here before, obviously winning the World Cup 4 years ago. From your experience, how much of an advantage does that give you over England mentally in terms of having been there and knowing what it takes to get the job done?
To be honest with you, if we compare both sides, there were more English players at the World Cup in Russia than French players. And if you look at the English squad, there were semi-finalists at the World Cup. They were runner-up at the last Euro, and there is a real progression. And I believe that this team is getting mature and ready to compete for trophies. No, they were a bit unlucky at the last Euro. They came very close, but they are here to win. No, in our side. There was a lot of changes with a new generation of players who are ready to compete because they all play in best club in Europe. But we have a good mixture between experienced players and young players, and we try to develop ourselves to become stronger step by step, and we have to make sure that we will be ready to challenge England on Saturday because. It's going to be a big battle. So there is everything for a big game, and now it's up to the players to perform.
Bonjour Hugo, Damien Degor, l'équipe ici.
A question from l'équipe. You know that in England sometimes refereeing is slightly different, and they allow more physical challenges on goalkeepers. And do you think you're going to have to show a different face when it comes to set pieces than you would usually because of that aspect? The British media seem to have identified you as one of the weak points in the French team. What would you reply to them? No, I have nothing to tell them in a press conference. I have no message for the English media. I'll do my talking on the pitch. And we have to ignore that type of talk. We don't need any extra motivation from outside to play the quarterfinals of the World Cup. But having said that, they have their views, and I respect them. And we're going to have to do our talking on the pitch. On set pieces, yes, it is different in England. Refereeing is slightly different when it comes to set pieces. There are more physical challenges in the English league than in other European leagues, and they don't necessarily get blown up for a foul. But generally speaking, the English players are very honest in these challenges, and sometimes the goalkeeper can be blocked off, and there can be fouls on the goalkeeper, which sometimes are given. And we just have to adapt to different contexts, and that's what I've done throughout my career. And things are very different when you get to European matches compared to the English league. So yes, it's a factor that you could take into account, but you shouldn't overemphasize it. You need to make the right choices on the pitch, and set pieces will be important, and we'll have to be up to the challenge.
In English, please. When you're at Tottenham, have you saved Harry Kane's penalties in training? And if it does go to penalties, with your analysis, would you know where the England players would be placing their penalties?
Well, better than me, Harry has the ability to shoot anywhere. So it can be on my right, on my left, in the middle. He's one of the best probably on this aspect of the game, but obviously for Harry or the other English players, there will be an analysis on penalties, but then it's all about feeling, all about instinct that you get during the match, no? So. But before to arrive on the penalty shootout, there is the time to make the difference on the pitch, but we'll see because it will be a tough game. It will be a big game, and anything can become decisive for both teams. So we have to be ready for any scenario.
Bonjour Hugo, Vincent Romain.
Good morning, Vincent Romain, Sud-Ouest. Can you talk about your performances since the beginning of this World Cup? How do you see the way you're playing? And your game with the ball, playing the ball out from the back, it looks like you've been taking a few risks. Well, that's not up to me to judge. You might have different views about that. But the most important thing is to try to play to the best of your abilities and to help the team when it needs your help. And to try and be decisive when you can. In terms of my kicking, every team is trying to put the goalkeeper under pressure when they have the ball at their feet. But that's also what France is trying to do. Teams are trying to press the opponents, try to put them under difficulty, and sometimes you have to make tough choices, and you don't always make the right ones when you have the ball at your feet. But at this stage in the tournament, you need to try and be as perfect as you can, so that you don't put your team under any unnecessary difficulty. So I hope that replies to your question. I'm not sure it has. Good morning. Kylian Brahimi, RMC. Can you talk about your relationship with Harry Kane? What does he represent for you? And how do you prepare to face him in the quarterfinals of the World Cup? And that's someone that you are very close to on a daily basis. We have a very strong relationship. We've been playing together for about 9 years now, so we know each other very well, both on and off the pitch. And I only have positive things to say about Harry. He's a very important player for the team, for the club, and indeed for the England team as well. He's a real leader. He is an example for his teammates. And he's a top player. He's been decisive for his club, and very often he makes the difference. And like all of the players, Sam, on Saturday, every player is going to be determined to try and get their team through to the next round. Harry's someone who's known all over the world, so I don't think I can really add too much to what's already known. But he'll be an opponent, and we'll both be representing our countries. And so I'm sure that our focus will be on that.
Next question will be for gentleman here.
Nigel Adderley from TalkSport. Question in English, please. How much responsibility do you feel you have as a senior player in the French squad to maybe help the younger players through the preparation in a game like this?
Playing the best team in Europe, so they know how to deal with the pressure. But as you say, there is some players who were involved the last few years in important competitions. They were involved on the last World Cup, and we can obviously lead these players. We can help them, to talk about details. But they are ready for that type of games. They are all excited to face one of the best nations of the world, and I think we are all ready for that. It's a quarterfinal of the World Cup. It's a huge event, and we know what it means for the players, for the fans, for our nation, and we really want to push forward and to go to the next stage. But the same case for English players. So again, there is no much to say because it's a big game, and it's all about what is going to happen on the field.
Thank you, Hugo. Merci. Now we're going to welcome the coach, Didier Deschamps.